Hello there. Now we're going to start this one quickly because this is the the ground effect loop, the yellow loop here at Yackandandah. Why am I starting this quickly? Because essentially the trail signage wants you to duck out immediately away from the green, red and purple loop. So Shack, Diggings and Kokoda, and head over to the bridge, duck onto this small bit of trail and meander along to the real beginning of the ground effect loop. And so it begins with a hairpin and we come up onto here. And riding along this windy ridge as the forest road drops away, you get an appreciation for how much climbing you've done. And I absolutely adore the Alpine region. Beechworth, Mount Beauty, False Creek, Bright, the region that I really grew up in, just has some of the best scenery and some of the best cross-country and enduro riding in Victoria, and if you want to make the argument across Australia, but I have seen Tasmania, so I can't get too far ahead of myself. And while we're at it, best to crack open a beer and we'll keep going with the ground effect loop. This ride's recommendation, well, I've already recommended Bridge Road and I've recommended Bright Brewery in a previous video. So for this one, probably going to recommend Deeds Brewing. Now, if I remember off the top of my head, I think Deeds is somewhere up in Marrickville, New South Wales, so not exactly local, as we take the left, and it gives us a little warning that we're on a sheer cliff face. So Deeds Brewing, not overly local, but does show up here very often on the border. Introduced to Deeds Brewing fairly early on when I was trying out craft brews with their Lamington Ale, their Lamington Brown Ale, which they sometimes do as a double Lamington Brown Ale. But my main recommendations are going to fall towards their Hazy Pale, their Juice Train Nipa, the Double Juice Train, and Sawtooth, which is a pineapple sour, which I haven't seen for a while in Bendigo, but I'm pretty sure they still make it. And they also do great one-off and special edition beers. I recently had one called Ignition, I think it was, which was a very nice crushable session ale, summer ale. I really like that limited edition beer. So yeah, Deeds Brewing, check them out if your local craft brew shop has them, or order online. I've never made sure if they've got an online shop, but if they do, look it up and yeah, get some Deeds Brewing into you as we continue along the ridge here on the ground effect loop. We're not too far into the yellow loop, honestly, and the terrain has changed from the ridge riding trail where it was nice and smooth and flat. We're now getting into some more rugged rocks and roots. Okay, got a junction. It says left is yellow, straight is pink. Okay, off to the left is the hairpin that takes you back down into the pink loop. But if you continue uphill and to the right, we can continue on the yellow loop, the ground effect loop. Okay, at another junction, rather than going up and to the right, I'm going down here, down and right, where the yellow arrow was pointing me, and hopefully very soon I will be able to point out where the shortcut begins and where the long loop begins. So we're on a much higher part of the hill slash mountain line, still heading towards the junction between the shortcut and the long loop, but I can see in the corner of my eye how deep and lush the valley is. It is staggeringly beautiful. And right as you've got this nice flowing adventurous trail, I really do love this place. And here we are at the top of the yellow trails. And we're going downhill. Here we go. After all the climbing and grinding to get to the top, we're going down at long last. And man, it feels good to have some fresh air blowing over my face. Oh boy. A little bit of a jump there if you're so inclined, but I keep my wheels on the ground, sorry. Another bit of a hip jump there. Rock Buddha. Just a pleasant descent. Still continuing on the yellow loop, and boy, that is one hell of a Buddha going into that valley. So, based off my male compass, which is only right 25% of the time, I am heading in the right direction to be going back towards the car without having a look at the map. And this is why family vacations take too long, but we continue on. We're starting to go back downhill. Oh, trees. Oh, don't mind a sneaky gap like that. Two-way. Oh, all right, here we go. Wonderful. Sorry, wonderful. I just checked over my shoulder. We are back onto the common trail segment that gets us back towards the cars, but was also what we came in on, and which is also the trail or the beginning for the pink loop. So overall, I really quite enjoy the ground effect loop. It's not the most extreme enduro loop. It's not the most overly balanced cross-country loop like Diggings is, but what it presents is a lot of breathtaking views, some very nice scenery, and some very flowing trails for a more adventure sort of ride. So until next time, keep riding and stay awesome.